most common questions I get with making tumblers is, can I make this tumbler with CrystaLac? Because I used to make it with epoxy. And today I'm going to show you how to make a Peekaboo Tumbler using CrystaLac products. Specifically, I am recreating the one and only Jessica Flynn's Peekaboo Tumbler that she did semi-recently with the lightning bolts. And I'm going to show you exactly how to make it using CrystaLac products. If you're new here, my name is Allison and I post a weekly tutorial to help you become a more confident tumbler maker, so make sure that you are subscribed. We've got big things coming over the next couple of months. The tumbler that I'm doing today is a template and a wrap from Trendz Designs. I'm going to link it underneath this video. Because it is a wrap, I highly recommend that you use a skinny straight tumbler. I'm using a 20-ounce skinny straight from Craft Haven, and it just makes your life so much easier. All of the materials that I use along with discount codes are underneath this video. Let's get started. Start with a beige base. I used like a beige spray paint, but you can use the rosy beige Flippin' Awesome paints for just a perfect beige color. And once that's dry, you can add your Brite tone. I'm using Brite tone to apply my glitter with this CrystaLac brush. I personally like to hold my cup and use a brush, but you can do this while it's spinning. You can use glitter glue, you can use a different brush, whatever works best for you personally is what you should do. So once you get your cup covered, you can add your glitter. I am using Stardust from Glitter Heart Company, and it is a super pretty, like silver, kind of champagne-ish color, and it looks amazing over a beige base. So I just applied my glitter to my tumbler, and then I kind of tapped off the excess and let it dry for 4 hours. Once it was completely dry, I go in with a paintbrush to dry brush any excess glitter. This is a super important step, and you can use any brush to do it, but just dry brush this cup to get off any excess glitter. And then you can seal it with your glitter glue. I use the glitter glue and a damp brush, not too damp, but damp enough to help it spread a little bit easier. You want to make sure that you brush out your glitter glue extremely smooth. If you have any bumps or raised areas of your glitter glue, you're going to see that later. So brush it out until it is completely smooth. Then this needs to dry for 2 hours. I like to put it on my cup turner because it is a little watery. So once you get it covered, let it spin for 2 hours. Once it is dry for 2 hours, flatten it with your parchment paper and then get your cup smooth. Go through the whole process of your coats of Brite tone and sanding until you have a fully smooth surface. Open up your design from either in your Silhouette Studio or Cricut Design Space, whatever you use. I love how it's all kind of grouped already. So I moved the thinner lightning bolts and the stars off to the side, and I'm going to just cut these main lightning bolts. So what I did was I did kind of move it over because I don't like to waste any vinyl. And then I resized that rectangle just so it didn't cut through any of my bolts. I didn't resize the image as a whole, but you'll see why I probably should have later, but this probably will fit most tumblers. So I cut my removable vinyl with my 651, the same settings, but the permanent vinyl setting in Silhouette Studio is really good. So if you don't know what settings to use, I would start with those presets that they already have. So I cut this in removable vinyl. This is just a yellow StarCraft removable vinyl. And I weed it so I have only my lightning bolts left. And then I cut around the square that is around those bolts, and maybe next time, I gotta figure out, because it would be really a lot easier if your machine just cut all the way through the vinyl, so maybe I'll have to figure that out next time. But I just put on my transfer tape, squeegee out anything to get it fully smooth, and I like to trim around the design to get that transfer tape the exact same size. And in order to add it to my cup, I just grab my piece of paper and wrap it around the tumbler. Get it all lined up in exactly where I want it to go. And I just use 2 pieces of painter's tape just for a temporary hold while I apply it so it doesn't move. So it stays nice and lined up exactly where I want it. So then I will peel back the transfer tape and cut away a little bit of that backing so I can just apply that transfer tape right where it's supposed to be. It just This I think is called the hinge method, not 100% sure, but then I just remove the tape and then apply the rest of the vinyl to my tumbler by peeling away the backing and sort of rolling it around my tumbler. But I did notice that I should have resized this at the beginning, so when I did that, these last two bolts were a little too close to the other edge. So what I decided to do was just kind of cut them away, get the rest of that vinyl applied, and once I removed my transfer tape and all of these are good, I went in with those last two bolts and put them right in the middle of what I did have. It worked out great. Again, resizing at the beginning would have been the way to go, but you know, we just got to make it work. So anytime I do a Peekaboo tumbler, I will put a coat of Brite tone over my vinyl before I do any painting, because this will help reduce any chances of any paint bleeding, and it will just give you super sharp edges when you pull away that vinyl. So I highly recommend that you do just one coat of Brite tone before you go in with your paint. Instead of using my vintage blush spray paint, I mixed up my own with the CrystaLac pigments and universal white. I did that on a live stream, so I will link that up in the top right corner. But all I did was mix up this exact same color as that vintage blush and paint it on. I did one coat and I let it dry completely for 4 hours, and I then went in with a second coat. The second coat, I did the exact same thing. While my cup was spinning, I just applied my paint. The second coat gave me perfect coverage over that glitter and over that vinyl. I let it dry for 4 hours, and then I went in to remove my vinyl. I like to use my pin pen because I feel like you don't want to damage anything underneath it, and it just helps be able to peel up that vinyl. So peel away all of your vinyl pieces to create that peekaboo look. Before I applied any of the vinyl on top, I did go in with a few coats of Brite tone. I get nervous and I just never want my paint to peel up, so I just always do a few coats of Brite tone before I put any vinyl on any tumbler. So I just did about 2, maybe 3 coats of Brite tone, let them dry, and then I went ahead and cut out the rest of my images. These smaller lightning bolts, I am using a brushed metallic vinyl from the Vinyl People. And I decided just to peel up a few bolts at a time and just apply them to my tumbler. I will put a link for all of the materials underneath this video, but I just placed these one by one until I had them all on the tumbler. I used a rose gold. I think it might be the same brushed metallic, or it might just be one of the reflective ones. I think it is a reflective vinyl, but it is a rose gold, and I decided to just place these one by one. So what I did was on where the lightning bolts, where there were 2 lightning bolts, I did 1 star on top and then 1 star on the bottom. So that was sort of uniform. And then after I got all of those done, I went in between the middle bolt where I have the 3 bolts, right? I did 1 above and 1 below to kind of create a uniform look, but also kind of looks a little bit random. Once I got the vinyl all placed, I finished up my tumbler by doing my coats of Brite tone. I did 3 coats of Brite tone, let them all dry for 4 hours, and then I went in with my 400 grit sandpaper. I only sand over the vinyl, clean it up, and then go in with my final coats of Brite tone. If you feel like you want to add more coats of Brite tone because you can still feel your vinyl, feel free to sand it one more time. Just know after you sand it, you're going to need an additional 3 coats of Brite tone. Peekaboo tumblers are so versatile and so fun to do. I absolutely love the color scheme on this one. One of the other main questions I get about using CrystaLac to make tumblers is how to use alcohol inks. So I'm going to link a video up on your screen so you can learn more about using alcohol inks with your CrystaLac tumblers.